Hey there, everybody. This is our review of Grey's Anatomy, Season 17, Episode 12. I mean, I'm sure in here we'll talk a little bit about that promo that, clearly they want us to be a little bit worried about Meredith. Like, should we be worried about Meredith?
They are dancing around her death.
Okay, come on, guys. You're not killing Meredith. I will never believe that. And then if it happens, I will just be on the floor dead for an entire video.
No, it can't. No.
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But, this was an episode that was very timely. It had a lot going on. I mean, especially when you sort of consider everything that's actually going on in the real world right now. I will admit this before we dive too much into anything else. I've had a hard time of sort of recognizing time within the Grey's Anatomy world of like, okay, here is when this episode is set, here is where that episode is set. Like, I thought they were a little bit closer to the present day than clearly they were when we sort of saw the end of Station 19 spark up kind of all the protests and everything that was happening, last summer for so many of us. This is a powerful episode. We have a lot to get into here. As we do, though, if you guys do enjoy this discussion, remember to hit that subscribe button. And, we're going to be here talking about Grey's Anatomy for the rest of the season and or freaking out about whatever is happening with Meredith and Derek and that pose at the beach or whatnot.
Okay, let's start actually with that, because I think that's the thing that... I mean, for me, I saw that promo and I just started to get really scared. Now, I don't think that they're actually going to kill off Meredith, but I mean, this show has done some things that I was really surprised that they did. Like, everything that happened with Alex felt like it came out of nowhere. And I was so shocked by that now I'm kind of like, anything really can happen, and this show can easily piss me off and send us in that type of a direction. And I mean, there might be some people out there that are like, oh, well, she'll be reunited with Derek and all these other people she loves. But then, then she's leaving the show because we're not going to end up with Ghost Meredith.
Listen, she can reunite with those people later. We need her now. Okay, here's what really shakes my basket with all of this sort of beach stuff is there are no rules. We've went over this time and time again where I thought it was like she couldn't touch Derek.
That's right. That is the rule. Yeah. And they did say that in the promo as well. Again, she said, I want to be closer to you. He said, that you can't, because basically we saw, everything else that happened with DeLuca, that when he got closer and closer and closer, he's gone. So that does seem to be the rule of the beach, that if she does touch or get close enough to one of the people that passed away, then she's gone.
But then they show her and Derek, they're like standing like, okay.
Yes, this is why I have the worry.
Okay.
Because if these are the rules of the beach, and that seems to be what has been set up by the show, that these are the rules of the beach, then we're looking at a problem coming out here, because they were like so close where he was standing behind her. You couldn't really see for sure they were touching. His face is very close to her face. Like, are they just kind of skating around how close they can be before she commits to going to the other side?
I'm going to shout out my U.S. history teacher in 7th grade here, Mr. Salerno, who always used to say at the school dances, I got to see the Holy Ghost between you guys when you're dancing. Like, there's no Holy Ghost between Meredith and Derek in that scene. Like, there's no space.
No, there isn't.
Aren't you all happy to have an education on Texas middle school etiquette in the middle of this? See, okay, I'm worried about it. They're going to freak us out. I figured we were going to see Dempsey again one more time, because I think Patrick said he was doing like 4 episodes and I didn't think he'd done 4 yet.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like when the beach is finally going to be like done, and it does feel like Meredith is getting better. So, I mean, eventually the beach has got to be done. But I think when it's done, like actually done, it'll be very clear. There'll be some sort of a goodbye. If she's not going to actually die and go off with Derek, there will be a sort of, I will see you later. Like, I'll be waiting for you. Okay, cool. I'll see you when I see you kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm hopeful for good things.
They can't just end it without there being nothing.
No, and the present day, the stuff with, like, Levi, like, I know they were showing Levi having a moment here, hearing Meredith's voice or whatever, that just kind of actually just made me mad, because I was just sort of like, you guys made it seem like she was starting to get better, and I know it's not an immediate thing, and then she's just lying there for the entire episode.
I actually really like that.
Okay, all right, here we go.
And this is why, because Levi, he doesn't always get the best material for the past couple seasons. He's had some really good stuff, and then he's kind of just gotten a bit lost this season. But it was kind of cool to see where it was like, all right, you're on deck. This is what is happening. You are in the room. You can't get out of the room. So are you, you got to step up. Can you do it, kind of thing? And to, have Meredith there, but not to jump in and take over, where he's still getting, like, that guidance in his head of, what would she do? She is here, almost like, she is watching me, so I better get it together or she's going to be mad at me. Kind of whatever the motivation is to get Levi in there to do what he did. I thought that was great. It's nice to see him have something else going on where he's not just sort of in this tormented relationship, on and off relationship.
I will say this, Levi, it's not your fault. I do like you as a character. You have got big nerd energy. I relate to you. I relate to Levi more than any other character on the show. I'm just salty because of what they gave me with Meredith last week, giving me false hope.
No, I completely agree. It is time to wrap up this beach, and it needs to happen next week. It is enough. It is enough. This has been a very intense season. They've tackled a lot of extremely difficult topics, and Meredith is not around for any of this stuff. And it has been really like this big sort of missing hole in my heart watching the show this season and not having her there. The cameos on the beach and all that was fun and good to see and whatever, but it is long time to wrap this up. Bring her back to the show. She can't be laying in a bed for the whole season. Please.
I know. And it's a real, I am salty that, we couldn't get more perspectives, whether it's from a Meredith or for really, frankly, a number of characters who weren't in this episode tonight, because you were talking about, like, scenes and events that were hugely significant to this past summer. And what I did like about how they handled the protests was sort of showing all of the different perspectives on it that, so many people, and I think this is true to life as well, so many people want to find a way to help and want to have their voices heard and want to be a part of a movement. And, I love that you sort of have Richard at the center of this, who really kind of is super gung-ho about this and talks about his, experiences, to quote the late, great John Lewis, making good trouble. And there was so much good stuff with him. And then you have Jackson, who, has immeasurable wealth, but he still doesn't really know how to find his voice. And we even saw, Cormac's kids, and that's something we haven't really gotten that much perspective on this show at all, and that was really fascinating to see. Yeah,
the whole story with Cormac and his kids was awesome.
Yeah.
We've gotten some Cormac, but we haven't gotten enough of him. Like, he really is on the show all the time, but there's not enough focus on him and sort of his life away from the show or away from the hospital. And everybody else has had that, but he hasn't had it as much. But it was good to see that he's out protesting with his kids. He wants to be there with them, and then he decides he's going to be like, nope, it's getting too dangerous. And that he realized after his talk with Joe that I love their friendship, and you guys know where I stand. But anyways, it was cool after his talk with Joe, where he kind of did a little more self-reflection and realized that him stopping his kids from going to the protests is more about what he wants, because he doesn't want to be in a position to lose anyone else. But at the same time, he is taking away something from his kids that is really important to them and to him.
Yeah, and I think there were probably a lot of conversations happening during the protests that were kind of similar.
Yeah, I agree.
It was similar to what Cormac was going through in this episode, and I think they handled all that really, really well. I mean, the Winston stuff was just heartbreaking to see.
I was getting worried from the very beginning. I was just like, oh no, oh no, oh no. Like, I thought that Winston was not going to make it out of this episode, to be honest. Like, I was just like, he is going to die. He is going to die. This is horrible. This can't be going down.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad that they didn't go in that direction, but what they did show where, he had gotten pulled over, Meg is trying to stay on the phone, she can't get a hold of him, is like the longest 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes of her life that she just can't get in touch, she doesn't know what is going on. That scene with him at the car where he's explaining everything that happened with the search dogs, they've ripped everything out of his car. It's all over the side of the road. Like, it was just heartbreaking.
It was really...
And horrible.
Yeah, it was horrible to watch, and I think why you had that sort of read that, oh, he's going to die, is because, you were able to sort of foreshadow that there was something traumatic coming for this character, and that just ends up being what it is, and I don't know where he goes from here. The other thing that I will say about this episode, and this is just kind of an aside from everything else, but we had Jerkface, who is I'm sure that's the legal name of Bailey's patient throughout this episode, who didn't want to wear that mask. Did that guy look just like Ben Affleck? Because
a little bit.
I'm pretty sure the answer is yes.
I thought it was really important that they actually showed that side of this, because there are a lot of people out there that do feel that way, and a lot of us can even know people that feel that way about it, and it is really frustrating because everyone has been affected by this in some way or another. Everybody knows someone who's lost someone, or there are people out there that have lost people themselves. It has all affected everybody worldwide. So to see somebody on the show who is just a straight up non-believer, and for it to be with Bailey of all people, great performance from her. Seeing her go into that hallway and just have that bit of a freak out, it's just... What else can you do with that kind of energy for her to be able to pull it back together and go back in? Like,
I've seen people that have made me want to have that reaction, and I'm not even a doctor. I'm not somebody in Bailey's position, and I won't go too far down this rabbit hole, but that's the thing that I always think about when I see people have these beliefs, is just sort of like, you think that we all want to live like this? Like, you think that this is our desired circumstance?
Or I don't know. I'm not going to go too far down the rabbit hole. This is going to be a very long, preachy video, and nobody wants to watch that.
No.
So I will zip it, but I feel like you guys know where I stand.
Yeah, it's just... They talked a lot of important stuff in this episode. I think they handled a lot of it really well. Yeah,
and it was... the best parts was the stuff also with Jackson, and it was cool to see him sort of, first he's sort of talking about, let's get this stuff together so that we can start helping people more, because this is the only way he knows how to help people, as he said, with money, with influence, with whatever is at his disposal. And then he's seeing, Richard sharing sort of these stories of, oh, I was at this protest, or I was at this protest, or I helped create this situation, sort of thing, where Jackson is starting to feel like all that he's been doing just isn't enough, and he wants to actually get in there and make a difference. And we saw at the end of the episode him get into his car and program that he's off for 11 hours, so I'm sure we will see more about what's going on with that, because there was that little conversation at the end with Catherine, so...
I'm interested in Jackson's story. It's nice for him to have one that's not just love interest. So let's see where that goes. But okay, let's hear from you guys. What did you think about this episode tonight? What do you think this show is doing with Meredith and Derek? Do we need to get more of the Holy Ghost between the two of them?
Oh my goodness.
Let us know in the comments. And if you do like this video, subscribe, give us a like, support us further. Check those links to the store, our Patreon, and we will see you here next time.